that was when I was at school. I first saw the paintings, but much later, when I had become a musician, I was asked to write music to set some of his poetry for a theatre show in London, which was called Tiger. This is one of Blake's poems, is Tiger, Tiger. And then I really did have to study his poetry for the first time and became aware of it, because obviously setting his words to music meant really working and try to understand what he was saying. And so it came from there. This was a long time ago. This was in 1971. So it's quite a long time ago that this started. He was really very original. There's nobody quite like him, but he was religious. He was a Christian, but not a conventional Christian at all. He didn't believe in church. He didn't believe in priests. He believed in some different kind of religion, and also he was very absorbed in sort of ancient culture and folklore and myth, things that deep in English history from very early times, and so his imagery goes right back. So in one level he was a kind of religious mystic in a sense, but also in his day-to-day life he was a struggling artist in London. He lived in poverty all his life. He published his own books of his work, and invented a technique where he could write his poems and illustrate them and print them himself with the help of his wife. And so he produced very few copies of these beautiful books. But he never made any money out of it at all. They were very poor always. As you say, I've had the opportunity to write for different media, sometimes not very much, but sometimes for film and television music, and also worked with classical orchestras sometimes. And Kate and I, my wife Kate, who of course writes many of the lyrics that we perform, we have written several operas which have been staged. So there's so many different things. I suppose I like the things, the pieces which do bring everything together. I'm interested in theatre. So is Kate. We're both trained as artists rather than musicians. Kate is a painter and so on. And so I suppose we are particularly drawn to mixed media, the things which have both poetry and a visual element and music and so on, and also all kinds of music, really. Some improvised music, different kind of instruments, different bands and so on. I like sort of trying to bring all these things together somehow, and so that's always very exciting with some of the big projects we've done with the big band. But I also very much, we work often just as a trio with Kate and myself and a saxophone player called Chris Biscoe, and I very much enjoy that intimate way of working where I can just play the piano and accompany my friends. So I suppose that's probably the thing I enjoy most of all, if I'm honest. But I'm lucky. I've had so many good opportunities. Those tributes to people like the Beatles and so on are really not, they're unusual. On the whole, I don't really do that so much, but it's just that I was invited to write something in Italy for a festival about the Beatles music, and I decided I'd listened to all their music, and in the end decided the Abbey Road album was the one that I wanted to do. So I arranged it for my own band, and it became quite successful, and it was great fun to do. But it's not really something I specialise in. And likewise, a similar invitation to do something for a Swiss festival about William Tell, and so I, with Kate's help, looked at some of the Rossini's operas, and we produced a piece called Westbrook Rossini, which we performed here in Bordeaux at one time, I think. So I don't have a new particular dedication in mind, but if somebody comes along and asks me, I'll try and do it, of course. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right.